Come back to second. Moved by Councilor Zelinski. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilor Yazbek. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And we are on to agenda item 4, for which two of us are recusing. This has to do with the continuation of the Slatersville Historic District. So I'm turning the gavel to the Vice President, Councilor Alex.
Yes, the last time we talked about the fact that if we didn't put an end date on it, a future town council could change it and eliminate it just like any other part of the zoning map. Technically, this is an overlay to the zoning map. And Jeff Harris, our architect and chair of the Historic District Commission, who is a real asset to the town, has copies of this. If anybody wants them, just raise your hand and he can give them to you. But you'll notice that this is different from the others in that there is no heading at the bottom or no text at the bottom, and the text just described how it will be limited in duration and time. So that's where we are. Question?
Mr. Erickson, last time we had several people from the neighborhood here, and there was discussion about 4, 6, 8 years. And the consensus came to split in the middle, 6 years?
No, I left with the impression that you didn't want to set an end date because any future town council could eliminate it. It's not like it's a conservation easement in perpetuity.
And I'm getting a little confused. Well, last time I thought it was a safeguard to put in some dates in there. So do you mind reviewing it for me so I follow it?
Okay? If you don't put a date in, that means there is no end date. If you do put an end date in, you need quite a bit of language to get that done. So that's why you had all the language at the bottom of the map. And that's the only difference. If you decide you want to do something other than just pass it, you can go to the second line where it now says, where your previous version said November 30th, 2018, the sunset date, put in any number you want there. But if you don't want to have an end date, then you don't put any of that text in. As I say, it's not a perpetuity thing. It's any town council can change it, just like you all have changed the zoning map from time to time.
With great deliberation.
Any questions for the public?
Statements?
John Flaherty, 10 Green Street, live in the district. And you're right, there was a lot of discussion last time about, 4, 6, 8. I sensed that there wasn't really any objection by any of the people who were here to it being just without an end date, for the reason that was just mentioned. And the reason for going that route, I think, was two. One is that the council can change it at any time it wants. But two, the council does not have to then bring this back up every 2 years, as we've been doing, for this is the third time that requires advertising, public notice, mail going to every affected person. I mean, we've gone through that process now 3 times. Nobody has objected to it, and I think that initially people were uneasy about it and felt, well, maybe we should have a sunset just so that we're there. You have to actually take the step to re-up it if you want to do it, but we've done that now 3 times, so I wouldn't object at all for it to just be done as it's proposed, and then if there is ever an issue in the future, any council can just repeal it.
Very well said, Madam President. I will note that it costs it's upwards of $1,500 every time we want to do this. So every 2 years. And that's also time that's required. The town clerk's office that can be better used for other purposes.
Anyone else?
Yes. Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
As it pertains to continue Slatersville Historic District.
Motion by Mr. Zelinski, seconded by Mr. McGee. Roll call. Mr. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Zelinski?
Yes.
Ms. Alves? Yes.
So, Madam President, you're looking for a motion to approve the amendment to the zoning ordinance map for Slatersville Historic District. Continue, correct?
Correct.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Zelinski, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. McGee.
With no date.
With no date. That would be part of the motion.
Okay.
Roll call, please. Mr. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Zelinski?
Yes.
Ms. Alves? Yes. Passes 3-0.
And that presumably the second reading as well.
Yes.
Thank you.
We're supposed to be to the vote, so it's not.
So this brings us to agenda item number 5, discussion by council, vote, or other action on tentative contract agreement with Rhode Island Council 94, AFSCME, AFL-CIO, Local 937. Just as a way of little background, this is something that's been in the works with this council since, I'd say, about the last year and a half. There's been a lot of back and forth over that time period. We had it on our agenda for our last meeting, and it's back at this point. So I will turn it to the town administrator for any further description, and then we can act.
Well, actually, I don't have much to add, other than I would ask for your support in passing this. There was, as you say, a lot of back and forth, and a lot of concessions made that we addressed and highlighted at the last meeting. I have had an opportunity to look at other communities, and we are significantly lower than most communities in the state for the same positions by a couple of dollars to $3, sometimes $4 an hour more. So I would ask your consideration in trying to at least bring the wage up to a living wage, and to take into consideration the concessions that were made, including one of them which will have a significant impact long-term on the town, in that there will no longer be a until age 65 health and dental benefit, which will be a significant savings. So I would ask for your support.
I'd like to commend the work of the administration and of the union. I just speak for myself in saying that I've been, I won't say alarmed, but when we've reviewed the salaries comparison with other communities, position by position, North Smithfield has consistently ranked in the very bottom. And I think that we want to be more competitive with our employees. And I commend the folks at the union for coming back with some work rule concessions that make it more feasible for the council to move the salary items in the right direction. That's one person's perspective, but I'll turn to anybody else if they have any observations they'd like to share before we have any further discussion.
Comment, Mr. President?
Councilor?
It was some 20 years ago I served in the capacity as planning director for the town of North Smithfield, and I saw the inadequacies of our communities, neighboring communities, and the pay scales and the pay wages and the benefits. I think that I'd like to compliment Karen Bernardino, the president, compliment before, and the administrator for working long, diligent hours. I think those concessions made on both sides. This is in the best interest of the town of North Smithfield, as well as the ladies and gentlemen that work for the town, supplies and services. So I'm going to be voting to approve this.
Again, I'll say what I said the other meeting, that as liaison of the town barn and everything, it was great working with those guys. Anytime people had a problem and people would call with problems, they'd do things that I couldn't even believe they could do. And they said, oh yeah, we got a truck that can do that. They'd take down things. I wish the ladies that we needed a few trees done were here, she was shocked at the things they got done. So, let me tell you something, these guys work, and they don't mind hard work, and they should be paid for it, so I'm with it.
President?
Mr. Yazbek?
When the first tentative agreement came in before us 2 or 3 months ago, that obviously had significant issues, evidenced by a 5-0 vote not to ratify at that time. I've been involved with a number of these contracts. This contract 3 months ago had a myriad of issues. In my estimation, probably 2/3 of those issues have been addressed. 1/3 probably left for the next contract. So historically, I think this will be the first union contract that I approve in my tenure here in 20 years.
And I think that's a credit to both sides in coming up with what they did. So thank you for all your hard work all year long. And unless there's any further comments, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Mr. President.
Moved by Councilor Alves. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor McGee and Zelinski. Is there any further discussion?
Mr. President, do we want to, just for the record, read it as agreement between the town of North Smithfield, Rhode Island, Council 94, AFSCME, AFL-CIO, the period of July 1st, 2014 to June 30th, 2007.
Thank you. Thank you. And also just want to clarify that this is our motion to authorize the town administrator to sign, or are we approving, we're ratifying the contract? Ratifying the contract. So as long as that's clear in the motion. So we have a motion, it's been seconded. If there's no further discussion, I'd ask for a roll call vote.
Ms. Elves? Yes. Mr. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Yazbek?
Yes.
Mr. Zelinski?
Yes.
Mr. Flaherty?
Yes.
Mr. President, make a motion that the town administrator be authorized to sign the contract.
Motion by Councilor Yazbek, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Alves. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Elves? Yes. Mr. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Yazbek?
Yes.
Mr. Zelinski?
Yes.
Mr. Flaherty?
Yes. Motion carries. Congratulations to all. On to item number 7, discussion by council vote or other action on consent agenda. All items listed in this section are considered in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless the councilor so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda?
Payment of bills.
Payment of bills. Anything else? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of the payment of bills? Moved by Councilor Alves. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Yazbek. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Elves? Yes. Mr. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Yazbek?
Yes.
Mr. Zelinski?
Yes.
Mr. Flaherty?
Yes, motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the payment of bills?
Mr. President, I'll make that motion. I basically bring up discussion, but a quick question I should have just posed to the finance director. So that's a motion to approve it as presented and approved by the finance director and the town administrator. I just have that one question.
Okay, motion by Councilor Zelinski. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Alves. I had one question on the cover sheet. I'm wondering if it's a typo or if it's, but it refers to total March payments. That's a typo, right? It should have been for
Should be
total
November.
October. November or October?
November.
November. Okay. So we have a motion that's been seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Elves? Yes. Mr. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Zelinski?
Yes.
Mr. Flaherty?
Yes. Motion carries.
I would like to pose a question.
Pardon me?
I did have a question I want to pose.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Brenda, the town of Blackstone building we have on 15 of 16, is that electricity? What is that amount for? Do you know why we pay? Page 15 of 16.
Probably a pot raise.
town of Blackstone, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'll have to get back to you.
That's what I was, Council Yanbeck and I kind of discussing, that's what we thought. Thank you.
Okay, so moving on to agenda item number 9, North Smithfield Town Council sitting as the Board of License Commissioners. We have listed as A, renewal of yearly licenses, and in our packet we had a list of all of the annual licenses. And I believe Council Yazbak is recusing. First of all, I just ask, does the administration have any comment on, I know this is an annual thing we do. No, nothing, no comments. Okay. Any questions on the part of the council?
Process question, Mr. President. To the solicitor, Mr. Lombardi, we have on here Blazing Wings and also Texas Roadhouse. They haven't opened up yet, so we're still just going to approve this? License fees, flat lot.
Well, you granted them a license and there's a fee due, so I would collect the fee, I mean,
Always.
unless there's other issues.
Okay.
So I would say yes.
No, there were no issues when we passed those licenses. Okay,
Right.
thanks.
Is there a motion to approve as presented?
So moved.
Moved by Councilor Zawinski, is there a second? Seconded by Councilor Alves. Is there any discussion? Mr. McGee is recusing as well. Hearing no discussion, I'd ask for a roll call vote.
Ms. Alves? Yes. Mr. Zelinski?
Yes.
Mr. Byron?
Yes, motion carries. Back to old business, item A, discussion by council vote or other action on requests for tax exemptions. This item is listed as Brookside Equestrian Center Solar Project. It's listed as a authorization for signature, and I am recusing as I did last time, so I'll once again turn it over to Councilor Alves.
Ian Palmer is here to present for site. I would like to note very briefly that Solarized North Smithfield is now up to 250 kilowatts in 33 sites, which is really quite extraordinary. And to also note that a section of Blue Compton and Tiverton was supposed to get first shot at Solarized North Smithfield because National Grid needed more power locally to cover peak loads, particularly during the summer. And that's what the solar does. It's non-dispatched, it just goes where the nearest source is, the nearest user source is, and that's why it's important to have that available in town. So, Ian, if you could come up and...
Actually, Andrew's going to speak.
Go ahead.
Council, thank you for allowing us to talk on this issue again. My name is Andrew Street. I am the Director of Project Management for Solbright. We're the company that actually wants to build the solar farm at the Spinella's Equestrian Center. We listened to your objections, or I guess, or concerns about the solar farm the last time we were here. And one of those, I believe, was you were concerned where the electrons would go and that it wasn't benefiting a local business. So Mr. Palmer went to Holliston Sand and he has negotiated a power purchase agreement for the electricity from the Equestrian Center after the PPA with NACGRID is over. So we are now benefiting a local company with the solar arrangement. So what we're asking the council is to give us an abatement on the tax credits, or sorry, the taxable amount from the estimated $30,000 down to $10,662 a year. This is increased revenue to the town. And we think that we We think it's a good project. I like solar. I've been involved in solar for 7 years. And I think it's beneficial to the U.S. I think, to me, it's almost magic that you can get electrons from sunshine. And it came out of NASA, which is, it's been a difficult path. Solar is, it was economically too expensive for a long time. Now it is a financially viable way for us to generate electricity. I've visited coal plants, nuclear plants, hydro plants. Solar is part of our energy future. You know, NatGrid is doing this partially by, I guess, legislative action taken by the state of Rhode Island, but solar across the U.S. is becoming competitive with other types of energy. The Spinellas contacted Solbright when they read about the project we did in East Providence. It's a 4-megawatt project on top of a landfill. And that land is useless. You can't develop it. It was bleeding methane, but not enough to use. And we're able to provide a lease revenue to the city of East Providence for 20 years. We put 60 people to work at the height of the project. A good amount of those people were unemployed before they came to work for Solbright. And with the work experience they gained working with us, they went on to get full-time jobs. We have employed local civil engineering, union electricians. So, I'm from out of town, but 85% of the work done is by local tradespeople. And we stay in contact with those people. We worked with Trenzia, which is a big civil company in the Providence area, and it's been a good partnership. We'd like to continue to work with them. So, solar's not going to replace natural gas or coal or nuclear power, but it can be part of the energy mix. We like to build projects that we think should be built. Compared to the Nexon project which you approved, we are now basically two identical projects. We both have PPAs with NatGrid, except for I believe that our project, we're going to have to pay NatGrid about $150,000 to upgrade the facilities, and I'm not sure that was required for the Nexon project. But not only that, we're asking for less of an abatement. And the Spinellas are from Smithfield. So it really shouldn't matter who they contract to build it. What you're getting is, over the life of the project, $212,000 going to the town of North Smithfield, and there's no public service upgrades. You're not having to take water out there. We're paying for the electrical service upgrade. There's no sewer. It's just an increase to the Spinella's tax bill that we'll cover for them. So I hope you would untable or reconsider the motion on the abatement for the Brookside property. We think it's a good project, and I hope the town council will agree.
Any questions? So this deal with House and Sam, this won't take place until 15 years after you start the electricity?
We're contractually obligated to sell all the electricity we produce to NatGrid. Which does, could I bring up one more? When NatGrid started offering these long-term power contracts, they were selling at considerably higher rates that they would have to purchase the electricity than we offered. We got together as a company and said, how low can we offer for the auction for the electricity, because I recognize if we're not competitive, then there's no point having solar generation. When I started, we were $12 a watt installed for a residential system, and that's now about $3 a watt. So we're moving in the right direction. But yet, once the PPA is done, all the electricity will be sold to Holliston at 40% below their retail rate at that time.
Any questions?
Questions? So to summarize, whatever electricity is being produced on that property is now going to come off that property and is going to go into the grid. And there's nobody nearby that's going to use that for 15 years until Holliston comes along at the end of the National Grid contract.
Which is the same for any project, because Nat Grid is the electricity owner. It has to go to Nat Grid, but electricity is like a river. It will flow past a meter and then go to the first place that needs it. But that meter is Nat Grid's meter. Nobody can avoid that.
So again, you're looking for a subsidy, and we have other people who have been here for a long time paying full boat on tangible property tax. And you want a subsidy so that you...
Not a subsidy.
It is a subsidy. You're not paying the fair share of your tax. If you paid the fair share of your tax, it would be 100%. You're looking for a discount on the personal property tax. That's a subsidy. You can call it what you want to call it. You're going to pay less than somebody who takes $5 million worth of equipment and puts it on their property in a business, or whatever the cost is of your equipment. You're looking for a subsidy, and the electricity is traveling off your property. Nothing has changed. A promise 15 years from now. I'm going to be 70.
No, it's a
There's going to be no
contract.
sand left at Holliston 15 years from now.
But it's a contract. It's not
But
a
if they have no
promise.
need for it, it doesn't matter. For me, it hasn't changed my mind whatsoever. That's just me personally.
But if it's the exact same as the other project. So why is it a subsidy?
It's not the exact same as the other project. We had testimony the other project was going to use twice as much electricity than what was being produced there. So obviously, everything that's being produced on that tract of land is staying right there. Everything that's being produced on your tract of land is not staying there. You know what? You said that you've done an admirable job taking your cost per kilowatt from 12 to 3. You know what? Come back when it's 1 and you don't need a subsidy. That's what I'm going to tell you.
That other company has a contract with Nat Grid. That's public knowledge. On the same announcement that we were awarded, they're legally contracted to sell that to Nat Grid. They're not using that electricity.
You're entitled to your opinion.
Any other questions?
Let me just clarify something. The other, the last tax exemption was to National Grid for 15 years as well. So this is very similar to the last one.
Except we took testimony in the last one that their industrial park there consumes twice as much as what was being generated. So it's obvious that if you plug the wire into the socket, and the electricity is going to go to the next nearest source, it's staying right there on that plat of land. And to me, that was the only exception I would make for these commercial places. We have an ordinance on board right now, and the ordinance says for individual owners and people who are consuming on their own property, we will give the exemption. I think that's an excellent program, okay? I think North Smithfield is doing their fair share when we pass that ordinance. It's obvious that other people like it as well, but I cannot look at a business person in the face and have them pay taxes for the last 40, 30, 20, or 5 years and say, you know what, you're paying the full boat, and we're going to take these people and give them a discount. I won't do it, I can't do it, and I will not vote for it. I was being nice the last meeting, and I tabled it. Somebody decides to bring it back on the last night. Somebody should just waited for another council. Maybe they would have had a better ear for it. But this ear hasn't changed.
Just bringing the information to you.
I understand, Solicitor, and I appreciate your work. Thank you. And I don't mean to take it out on you, but somebody just got my Irish up. Yeah, my mother's Irish, that's where I get my good looks.
Any other questions, comments?
Motion to deny.
Motion's been made by Mr. Yasta, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Zelinski. Roll call.
Mr. McGee?
Motion to deny? Yes.
Mr. Yazbek?
Yes.
Mr. Zelinski?
Yes.
Ms. Alves?
Yes. That's 4 to 1 to deny.
Well,
I'm sorry,
4
3 to
to
1. 3 to 1, oh.
Wait,
I'm sorry, 4 to 0 to deny.
unanimous.
That's it?